Illinois State University is the largest preparer of teachers in the state, and Chicago Public Schools is the largest employer of teachers in the state. It's the third largest district in the nation. And yet, back before the pipeline began, there wasn't a linkage between Illinois State University and Chicago Public Schools.
The pipeline, we partner with 3 different neighborhoods across Chicago. Auburn, Gresham to the south side, Little Village on the west side, and Albany Park is our newest community partner on the northwest side.
We started this project about a year ago with ISU. It was attractive to us because our community told us they wanted to have a stronger connection with the university partner. They wanted a university that could bring not only student teachers, but bring more resources to our schools.
That's the uniqueness of the pipeline, is that there is a community-based organization as the partner to the school or schools. Without the pipeline, when you don't have educators who are familiar with the tough streets of the south side of Chicago, teaching kids who they have no familiarity with, not only the kids, but the backgrounds that the kids are coming from. I've seen that play, and it doesn't show well.
When you look at the teacher pool that's out there right now, it's still largely white and female. And in Illinois, it's largely white suburban female. And so when we're having students who are preparing to become teachers for city schools, one of the first things we need to address with them is that your world experience is not the only world experience.
I know when I started here, they kind of looked at me like they didn't think I knew much about them, and so it took a lot to kind of build that rapport with them and kind of show them, if we have this trust between each other, then that's when the learning really happens.
It's an amazing experience. It's not, you don't just come and teach for a paycheck. You're changing kids' lives.
I've been a CPS student. I know the things that I experienced hands-on, so I feel that it's my duty and my calling to come back and give these students those things that they're lacking, those things that they feel like they're not getting.
Many of our students, they just really feel like that's part of their identity. It's really about reshaping their identity as a teacher. What we want to do is, instead of just thinking to themselves, oh, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a science teacher, a math teacher, we want them to say, I want to be a Chicago public school teacher. I want to be an urban teacher who happens to teach math.
All right, go ahead and answer me these are the first 4 questions. Give me the answers to these questions.
Besides just the general duties of teaching science, I have an obligation to make sure that my students are successful in life. I know most of my students aren't going to be scientists or working in a lab or maybe even not majoring in science. So it's important that they understand, what's important to them and how to be successful in their own right.
You know what? Motivate me. I want to be someone in life. I'm going to be successful in life.
I love Madero. This is like my second home, and the kids I'm able to relate to the kids, connect with the kids, just growing up in the neighborhood, and I know what they go through. It means a lot being able to be here and giving back to my roots, my culture.
We have definitely seen an increase in the number of students from Little Village that go to study in Illinois State University. We have seen an increase in the number of students graduating from Illinois State University that come and teach in Little Village schools. So we think that's very positive, and we think that the numbers are really speaking for themselves.
ISU graduates, specifically ones who go through the Chicago Teacher Pipeline programming, are getting hired very quickly by principals. And we actually had to start turning away principals and saying, I'm sorry, we're out of graduates. Every single one of our grads who were going through a program got a job here in the district.
It's a new way of thinking, how can we work towards comprehensive community development on the anchor or the platform of education.
So the community has a need, it's a demonstrated need. They call upon us to work with that community, and so we take their approach and not ours. So they're involved from the very beginning in trying to change not only the education for their students in that community, but the community itself.
ISU has brought to us several things. First, they brought some highly qualified teaching candidates to work in our schools, which has been important. They brought in after-school programming to supplement those students in a school that need help. Principals are thrilled with that. The Chicago Teacher Education Pipeline Program has been a blessing for our community. It is something that we were looking for, but it's more than what we were looking for.
Illinois State University, I think, has always been at the forefront of public education. I think they've always understood what makes a great teacher. But with the Chicago Teacher Pipeline, we've really learned, I think, what makes a great urban educator. We wanted to approach and completely change the way that universities historically have worked with communities and with schools. We wanted to develop meaningful relationships that could be long-standing and long-term. We wanted to develop our goals together. And so a part of that is we have to trust our partners. They have been here well before we arrived.
This is how an institution of higher learning can really make a difference in urban America.
Well, we are very excited about the next steps for the Chicago Teacher Pipeline. We're especially looking forward to it being a model for urban teacher preparation, not only in Illinois, but across the U.S.